I can imagine it is a little daunting to think about how to do it, right? If we haven't seen this done much, if we haven't done it ourselves, thinking, I mean, how do you just start reading aloud? I'm not a teacher, Hey, Cutterback over there, he's a teacher. This is his profession. He's paid to do this. I grant I have had a little more practice by classroom activities, but I'd just say any man can be a read aloud leader in his home. And so for a basic approach, I'd say take responsibility, take the lead, but relax. It is in a sense up to you. This is not going to happen unless someone takes the lead, and you're the natural one to do it. We need to try to be winning in doing this. This is not one of those things where it's good for you kids, by golly, we're going to do it. Sit down. Are you having fun yet? Right? We need to have ears to hear, and what's working and what's not. One of the funnest things is you're thinking, I don't know if this is going to work, or this is probably aiming a little high for the younger child, but I'm going to go ahead and give it a try. And then as if the younger child likes it as much or more as the older. I think of something my father would often say, John, what's the worst case scenario here? Right? I mean, things don't go well here. So what's the worst case scenario? You do a reading and people are not saying that this was the best experience they've ever had in their life. This reading aloud adventure can only go so badly. But at the same time, if it goes well, it can be a profound success. So I say, let's take a deep breath, be intentional about it, recognize it's going to take some time, and it's okay if we don't do it perfectly. So I think I'd break it down into what text. You're going to have to choose a decent text. How are you going to read that text? And then how you're going to lead discussion about that text. So what are you going to read? How are you going to read? And then how's the discussion going to take place? All right, well, what text? First of all, length. Put some thought into how long is this going to be? And be realistic. And that's partially up to how you plan it, how you prepare people for it. What are you kind of inviting the family, your spouse, friends to do? So part of this is being realistic, managing their expectations. Hey, family, let's come together. Why don't we spend a little bit of time reading here? I mean, you can always start on the shorter side. Maybe it's something that's 15 to 20 minutes. Could be something that's very short. Could be 5 minutes. Could be a 15 to 20 minute essay. You could go for the short story, the J.R. Tolkien's Leaf by Niggle. That's actually a long short story that might be an hour and a half, 2 hours, but invite people over or prepare the family. That would be the older members of the family. We're going to read a short story, and this is going to take us this length of time. So here we go. So I think the worst case scenario is people were expecting a 10-minute reading and they get an hour-long reading, right? That's beat me with a blunt instrument. So let's be realistic and savvy about the length of time. What you're reading as regards the kind of text. How about short stories is a classic one. Some type of essay. An essay that just reflects on some interesting topic. I think of Hilaire Belloc essays. I'll be happy to share with you later some more specific suggestions. Another thing is go to a great work of literature and pluck out a famous part. Pericles' funeral oration. Pluck that out of Thucydides. This can be a really fun thing to read out loud. Go to Homer. Go to the Odyssey and read when Odysseus is in the cave of the Cyclops. This is really exciting. It can be read in 20 minutes. So there's all different kinds of things. Or more serious essay on prayer, right? I mean, there's just so many different kind of things. Think about what it is and again, manage expectations. And I'd be happy to think more and provide you with suggestions in those different categories. All right, then the actual reading. Again, Try your best to do a good job of reading aloud, but don't kill yourself if you're not a professional at this. Read, with the proper volume. Read with clarity, at a good speed. Ultimately, ask for feedback. Was I reading loudly enough? Was I reading too fast? What I think a really important thing is try to feel what you're reading, and that gives a certain natural drama to your reading it aloud. And it doesn't even necessarily mean you have to have read it before. There's something cool about reading something for the first time where you're engaging in it in a unique and powerful way, and that can be shown in how you read. And that might come with practice. Again, don't be too hard on yourself, but think of the basic things like volume and am I reading too fast? Am I reading with a little bit of drama? An occasional dramatic pause. So, all those things are going to make a difference. And then finally, being a leader of the discussion. And this is probably where you're going to be most wondering, oh my goodness, well, again, I'm not, I haven't done this in a classroom. This is not a classroom. The home is an informal environment. So we don't want to treat it as though it's a classroom. But at the same time, you can lead into discussion by being willing to, first of all, maybe make some comments yourself. My first very particular tip, by the way, is never be afraid of silence. When you are taking responsibility and trying to lead the discussion, you're going to feel as though the silence is much longer than it is. When you have finished reading, there's nothing wrong with there being a silence at the end of that before anyone says anything. You can be prepared with a comment yourself, but wait a little bit and maybe someone else makes a comment first. Don't be afraid of the silence. Be prepared to say something that's either a reflection. It doesn't have to be something super profound. It can be something just you're wondering. It struck me. I wonder if, or it seems that maybe, what do you all think? Right? These are very disarming, good, informal, but powerful ways of guiding others in. I say the final thing about leading the discussion, have a positive attitude. Be very affirming. It's not, and again, you could be overbearing. Every time someone says something, you don't say, "Oh, good, 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 good. That's perfect. That's great." Anyone else? I'd say that's a little too involved. But that you'd be ready to say, "Wow, that was a great point. Thanks for sharing that." Is a way of you're kind of in the lead position, but you're not being overbearing, you're not being overly directive, and you're just kind of that natural pause and waiting to see whether someone else comes in. So we could get more into that, but again, I just wanted to sort that out. I think if you just remember, those are three different things. What are you reading? How are you reading aloud? And then leading the discussion. You're already 3/4, if not 4/5 the way there to having a great and meaningful experience of reading aloud together.